Hello everyone and welcome to a Music Theory Minute. This is Floyd Richmond and today we're going to talk about modulations. A secondary dominant is a quick visit to another key, but then the music immediately returns to the original key. In many cases, songs modulate to new key centers for short periods or sometimes for the remainder of the song. There are three different kinds of modulations: pivot chord modulations, common tone modulations, and direct modulations. Let's look at pivot chord modulations. Pivot chord modulations are also called common chord modulations. The composer identifies a common chord between the two keys and then uses that as a pivot point from one to the other. Here's a modulation map of Bach's Invention No. 1 in C major. In measure 1, it starts out in C major. By measure 4, we have some F sharp showing up, and it is in G major. By measure 8, we're back in C major again. By measure 10, we have some B flats and C sharp showing up, so we're clearly in D minor. By measure 11, we have G sharp showing up, so we're in the key of A minor. By measure 16, we're back in C major. By measure 18, we have a good number of B flats showing up, so we're in F major. And by measure 20, we're back in C major for the end of the song. In each of these new key centers, Bach begins to use the accidentals from the new key, although the key signature stays the same. If a composer is going to stay in the new key, it is common to change the key signature. If the composer is just exploring a new key center temporarily, they use many accidentals. In each of the modulations in Bach's Invention No. 1, a common chord connects the various keys. In measure 4 and 5, you find the chords shown below. The C1 chord on beat 1 of measure 4 changes function to that of a 4 chord in G major. That C chord is the pivot chord between the two keys. Let's take a look at common tone modulations. Common tone modulations use a single tone as a means of pivoting to a new key. In the example below, the first modulation is from C to B flat. Both C and B flat have an F natural in the scale. At the end of the line, the common tone appears again. It could modulate back to C major, or it could modulate to any key with an F in its scale. For example, C major, C minor, D flat major, D minor, E flat major, E flat minor, F major, F minor, G flat major, G flat minor, G minor, A flat major, A minor, B flat major, B flat minor, and more if considering E sharp. The common tone permits modulations to more distantly related keys than the pivot chord modulation. Oh, by the way, I should mention that closely related keys are major or minor keys that have one more sharp or flat. Distant keys have two or more sharps or flats than the original key. Let's look at direct modulations. The common chord and common tone modulations give some preparation for the new key and smooth the transition by using musical elements from both keys. In direct modulations, there's no such warning or preparation for the key change, and they are not as smooth. In fact, abrupt would be a better way to describe them. Thank you for joining us today for a Music Theory Minute. Be sure to like and subscribe.